The worst thing wasn't what she said. And that's when everything changed.
For years, I convinced myself I was fine alone, but then I met someone who changed everything. He never saw my age, he only saw me. Are you sure about this? I was wrong. She's not right for you. Then one morning, I heard what she really thought of me.
What happened next wasn't what my mother expected.
For the first time, I stopped defending myself.
The right people don't ask your age, they recognize your value.
I heard everything. I heard everything. That's the thing I keep coming back to. I wasn't eavesdropping. I was standing in the kitchen of Callum's apartment on a Sunday morning, making coffee, wearing his gray Henley that came down to my thighs because it was the first thing I grabbed. And the walls were thin, and he hadn't closed the bedroom door all the way. His voice was low.
Hers you.
Hers was not. She's 44, Callum. You're 36. Do the arithmetic. I set the coffee pot down very carefully. The arithmetic, Callum said. Flat, not a question. A woman like that, she's past the point of building something. You'd be walking into a closing chapter. That's not fair to you. It's not fair to either of you, if she has any dignity about it. The word dignity landed in the kitchen like something thrown. I stood there with both hands on the counter, eyes on the backyard through the window, a bird pulling something out of the garden bed, normal Sunday sounds all around me. And I thought, I could pick up my shoes. I could be quiet about it. I could let him handle this privately and protect everyone's feelings, including hers, which I was somehow still considering. Then I heard Callum say, "Hold on a second." His footsteps crossed the bedroom floor. My name is Nadia Osei. I'm 44 years old, a senior architect at a firm I joined 20 years ago and made partner at 41. I live in a 2-bedroom apartment that I own in a city I chose, with a bookshelf that covers an entire wall and a kitchen I designed myself. I have been divorced once, amicably, to a man who was wonderful and became someone I was no longer compatible with. That marriage gave me 8 honest years and a clearer sense of who I needed to be next. I met Callum Reed 14 months ago at an industry event. Neither of us had wanted to attend. He was the structural engineer on a project I was designing, quiet in the way people are quiet when they are actually paying attention, which is rarer than it sounds. He asked one question during the presentation that made everyone in the room recalibrate their assumptions. I noticed that. He found me at the drinks reception afterward and said, without preamble, "Your firm's use of load distribution on the Hensley project was either very brave or very wrong." I've been trying to decide which. Which did you land on? Very brave, he said. Which is better? We talked for 2 hours. I gave him my card without making it a thing. He called 3 days later, also without making it a thing. We had been together for 11 months when I met his mother. Her name was Patricia Reed. She was 67, recently widowed, the kind of woman who arranged her grief carefully, in public, and saved the sharper edges of herself for private conversations with her only son. She had a way of being pleasant that felt like a warning. The first dinner was fine. The second was careful. The third was when she started talking to him about me in the next room. That was 4 weeks ago. Last Sunday was when she called.
I heard his footsteps stop just outside the bedroom door. Then the door opened fully. Callum stood in the doorway in his joggers and a faded blue t-shirt. Phone in his hand, his mother's voice still coming through the speaker. She hadn't stopped. And I'm not saying she isn't accomplished, I'm sure she is, but there is a season for everything, and you deserve someone who is in the same season as you. Same season as you. He looked at me, I looked at him. Neither of us said anything for a moment. His jaw was tight in the way it got when he was making a decision, not when he was angry. There's a difference, and I had learned to read it. He held the phone out, not to hand it to me, to show me the screen. Both of us, now, in the same call. "Mum," he said. Her voice came through the kitchen now, filling the Sunday morning quiet. "And I spoke to Sarah Kimber. Her son just got out of a 10-year relationship, and she thinks..." "Mum," clearer this time, she paused. "Yes?" "Nadia is here." A beat, the particular silence of someone recalibrating. "Oh," Patricia said. And then, because she was Patricia Reed and she had been raised to recover quickly, "How nice!" I almost said something. I bit it back. Callum set the phone on the kitchen counter between us. "Say what you just said," he said to the speaker. "About the season and the arithmetic. Say it again with her listening." The kitchen was very quiet. Outside, a car went past. The coffee maker gurgled its last cycle. Patricia did not say it again. What happened next was not what I expected. I expected Patricia to double down. She was a woman who had raised her chin through 30 years of difficulty, a difficult marriage, a difficult grief, a life that required her to be unmovable. She did not back down easily. But there is a difference between being unmovable and being called to account by your own child, in the presence of the person you've misjudged, asked to repeat yourself out loud. "Callum," she said finally. Her voice was different now, still controlled, but thinner. "This is not the right moment for this conversation." "You started the conversation," he said. "Not in front of... Her name is Nadia." Another silence. I was looking at my hands on the counter. I made myself look up. Callum was watching me, not the phone. He wasn't performing this for me. He wasn't making a point. He was simply refusing to let the distance between what his mother said privately and what she would say publicly go unexamined. "Patricia," I said. Callum didn't react, just waited. "I heard what you said," I told the phone. "I'm not going to pretend I didn't. I also know you love your son. That's not nothing. But I'd like you to know that I am not a closing chapter. I'm not a season. I'm a person who chooses what she builds and with whom. And right now I'm choosing your son. And he is choosing me." A pause. 3 seconds. 4. "I see," Patricia said. Not an apology, not a retreat. But something had shifted in the two words. Something that acknowledged, at minimum, that she had been heard speaking in a room she thought was private, and that changed the shape of what she'd said. "I'll call you later," Callum said to the phone. "Yes," Patricia said. "All right." He ended the call. He set the phone face down on the counter and looked at me. "I'm sorry," he said. "Don't be," I said. "She loves you. She just loves you badly right now." He exhaled, a long, quiet exhale that told me he'd been holding it since before I woke up. We didn't talk about it more that morning. We drank the coffee I'd made. He scrambled eggs. I sat on the counter and read the news on my phone, and we moved around each other in the kitchen the way you only do with someone you're genuinely comfortable with, which took us months to build, and which I was not willing to reduce to a data point in someone else's arithmetic. He said at some point, "She'll call back." "I know," I said. "It might take a week." "That's fine." He looked at me. "You're not angry." "I'm not angry," I said. I was for about 4 minutes. Then I decided it wasn't worth the calories. He almost smiled. "That's a very you thing to say." "I've had practice," I said. "This is not the first person who has done the arithmetic." He put the spatula down and turned to look at me properly. "The arithmetic," he said, "is 8 years. That's how long I think I have been missing a specific kind of person in my life. And I'm 36, so that's a long time to go without something and then find it." I looked at him for a moment. 8 years is a long time, I said. "Yes," he said. "So I'm not interested in doing the arithmetic any other way." The eggs were burning slightly. Neither of us moved for another 3 seconds. Then he turned back to the stove, and I handed him the spatula, and the morning continued. Patricia called back in 4 days, not a week. Callum told me she called. He told me what she said, which was not an apology in the traditional sense, but was, for Patricia Reed, something closer to it than she had perhaps ever managed. She had apparently said, "I may have spoken without full information," which was, for a woman who prided herself on always being in possession of full information, a considerable admission. 2 weeks after that, she asked if we would come for dinner. I told Callum I would think about it. He said, "You don't have to." "I know," I said. "That's why I want to." We went on a Thursday evening. Patricia opened the door in a navy dress, lipstick on, the house smelling of something roasting. She looked at me directly and said, "Nadia, come in." Not warm, not cold, just direct. Just my name, said with full acknowledgement that I was the person she'd misjudged, standing at her door anyway. We sat at the table. We talked about Callum's project, the one I was consulting on, and about the city, and about a series Patricia had been watching, and about her late husband, once, briefly, and with more honesty than I expected. At the end of the evening, at the door, she looked at me again. "You didn't have to come," she said. "No," I said. "But I think we're going to be in each other's lives for a long time, Patricia. I'd rather we start right." Something moved across her face. Not quite a smile, but something. "Yes," she said. "I suppose it does." In the car on the way home, Callum drove and I watched the city go past and didn't say much, and he reached over at a red light and put his hand over mine on the armrest. He didn't say anything either. He didn't need to.